Heya folks, how's it going? I'm Lexi and I really like tabletop role-playing games. So much so that we get together once a week every week and review one here on the gaming table. If that interests you, I encourage you to hit subscribe and keep watching today's video. Today I am taking a look at a game that was sent to me to review. I'm always extremely grateful when people reach out to me asking me to review the games they've worked so hard on to make. I do always try to be honest and give a fair review. If you have a game that you've made and you would like to see it on the gaming table, I've popped the best way to contact me in the description box below. I do have a delay at the moment in between receiving games and getting the episodes out, but I would really like to hear from you. Today we are looking at a neat little zine game. From Eric Faber, this is The Last Hand. The Last Hand takes place in an isolated town The Last Hand takes place in an isolated town in Paradise, Colorado. I think this is a pretty significant choice of location. The American expansion into the west of the continental US was an extremely brutal chapter in history. Life in these places was brutal and short, and many communities were only established after displacing indigenous people. This game doesn't necessarily take place in that historical period. This game doesn't strictly take place in that time period, but I think the legacy of that history is an important factor in this game. Paradise, Colorado is far away enough from help that if any trouble arises, it is up to the community to fend for itself. In this game, that threat has arrived. The community has holed itself up in one building as a mysterious hostile entity hunts them down. I see elements of post-colonial literature in this setup. I know this might be a little bit nerdy of me, but stay with me. A community's relationship to the land is an extremely important element in colonial and post-colonial literature. To myself, Paradise, Colorado feels like an interloper into this empty space, and nature itself has turned on them. Over the course of this game, challenges will arise and the community could either work together to overcome them, or these conflicts could tear them all apart. This zine game is played with a couple of D6s, a dealer's chip, and a standard pack of playing cards. There's no game master in this game. The D6 kind of fill that role. You roll them to generate questions that you're going to answer to be able to fill in what has happened or the general setting. Players take turns being the game master when they are bestowed the dealer's chip. It doesn't really give them much power over the story, it just more so says who is dealing what cards out when. The Last Hand's mechanics are inspired by the card game of Texas Hold'em. In every round, each player begins with 2 cards. Then the player who is taking on the role of the dealer deals out some cards from the top of the deck. These are going to establish the general setting for this scene and the stakes. The dealer will then use these cards as inspiration as to what potential conflict is going to arise. If the players wish, they can actually contribute to this beginning conflict by contributing a card from their hand. Players then respond in character to these events using the cards in their hands. Playing a card with a higher value than one on the table allows you to overcome a challenge. Sometimes a player will need to play 2 cards to combine their value to overcome the difficulty set by the card on the table. In these circumstances, this is representing a character putting a kind of special effort into their move. In other circumstances, players may wish to contribute a card from each of their hands to create a solution. This is going to represent more than one person putting in effort to solving the problem. Each suit represents a theme, and the higher the value on the card, the harder it is. The clubs represent violence, spades knowledge, hearts emotions, and diamonds wealth. Your face value cards and your aces are extremely high valued and can represent either an almost insurmountable challenge or an extraordinary effort. The game ends when the deck of cards is exhausted or the players at the table feel that the story has come to a natural conclusion. Some characters are going to make it out and some may perish for the story or to save the town. The last hand for me is about suspense. In this game, there is the threat of the monster outside, but also potentially of what conflicts could arise within. I happen to really like the Texas Hold'em inspired mechanics. The last hand, I think, is for the fans of horror and Western horror. Or perhaps if you're really into post-colonial literature like me, or gothic literature. In this game, the landscape is hostile to the players. This scene definitely uses its visuals to create that unnerving atmosphere. It has a sort of collage feel with photos of wide empty spaces with text imposed on top. There's also illustrations of unnerving gore and sometimes unpleasant things happening to animals. I don't think it's gratuitous and I do think it has a point. The easiest way for you to get a copy of The Last Hand is probably through the creator's itch page, where you can get a PDF for $12 US. I think if what I've described to you sounds interesting, then this is probably a game worth checking out. I really like The Last Hand. I think it faces the themes of horror, community, and isolation in an interesting way. The characters in this game can either survive by working together and bringing the community together, or everyone might tear each other apart. But what did you think? Do you have any favorite games inspired by card game mechanics? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. While you're there, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so YouTube tells you when I've next uploaded. If you like, you could share this video with a friend, which always really helps boost it in the algorithm. If you have a game that you've made and you want me to review it here on the gaming table, you can reach out to me using the details in the description box below. I also have a Ko-Fi page you can donate to if you would like to support this channel. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you next time at the gaming table. Bye!